Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something that I think is, pretty interesting: flipping houses. You know, that idea of taking like a fixer-upper, turning it into something beautiful and making some cash along the way. Our source material this time is a YouTube video from Riqueza Vital. It's called ¿Qué es el flipping de casas? Multiplica tu dinero. So is flipping houses really a good way to get rich in real estate, or is this something that's best left to the pros? Let's find out.
You know, what's interesting is that flipping houses has been around for a while. It actually got really popular in the 1980s, around the time that those home renovation shows started showing up on TV. But of course, the real estate world has changed a lot since then.
Yeah, it's not all, shiplap and stainless steel appliances these days. Right? There's got to be more to it than what we see on HGTV.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive interesting. We're going to break down the whole process. But first, we got to understand what exactly flipping houses means. It's basically buying properties that are cheaper, fixing them up and reselling them quickly for a profit. Mm-hmm. And it's not just people doing this on their own. There are entire companies dedicated to flipping.
Okay, so it's more than just like a quick coat of paint and putting it back on the market. So what are some of the things that someone should think about when they're trying to find the right property to flip?
Well, imagine you've got two houses that are exactly the same. One's in a neighborhood that's growing, with new businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
And the other one's in an area where, things are kind of stagnant. That difference in location could mean a huge difference in how much money you could make.
So location really is everything.
It's a big deal for sure. But there's more to it than that. You also have to think about like demand. Are houses in that area selling quickly, or are they, just sitting there for months? And then you got to look at the condition of the property. Is it just like surface stuff, or are you dealing with big problems like the foundation? And of course you want to compare it to similar properties like what they call comparables, houses that have sold recently in that area. That'll give you an idea of what you might be able to sell it for.
That makes sense. You don't want to spend a ton of money fixing a place up only to find out that nobody wants to buy it. And speaking of spending money, the video we're looking at today talks about this investor. He really underestimated how much the renovations would cost, and he ended up losing a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that brings us to the next step, which is figuring out if you can actually turn a profit. I mean, it sounds obvious, but it's easy to get caught up in a project. And forget to look at the numbers. The basic formula is pretty easy. Selling price minus buying price minus all your renovation costs, and then minus any other expenses like permits, taxes, staging the house, all that stuff. That equals your profit.
Yeah.
But the key is getting those cost estimates right.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's easy to watch those shows on TV and think, oh, I could totally do that. But I bet there are all kinds of hidden costs and surprise repairs that can really add up fast.
Oh, yeah. That's why you always need a contingency fund, to be prepared for those surprises. Because remember, you can't see through walls.
That is so true. You never know what you're going to find behind that wallpaper. So, okay, let's say you found the perfect house to flip. You've run the numbers and you think you can make a decent profit. The video lists a few different ways to pay for everything. There are conventional loans, flipping loans, venture capital, and even using your own savings.
Right. Each option has its pros and cons. And which one is best for you really depends on your own situation.
Yeah.
Like venture capital can be a good option if you've got a great project, but you don't have the cash up front. But you have to remember that you'll be sharing a big chunk of your profit with those investors.
That's a really good point. Those house flipping shows on TV make it look so much easier than it really is. There are so many things to consider even before you even start working on the house.
Mm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're just getting started. Now let's talk about the fun part, the actual renovation. This is where you can really change a house and make it more valuable. But it's not just about making it look pretty. You have to make sure it's functional and practical too. You got to find that balance between design and actually making it work for people.
No avocado green appliances, huh?
Yeah, probably not the best choice these days. But seriously, you have to think about what's going to appeal to the most buyers. Like, what are the current design trends? What kind of features are people looking for in this market?
So it sounds like researching those design trends is just as important as figuring out the money part. And then there's the whole thing about actually hiring the people to do the work. What should you be looking for in a contractor?
Oh, hiring the right people is so important. I mean, you're trusting them with your investment, right? First of all, check their credentials.
Yeah.
Are they licensed? Do they have insurance? And don't be afraid to ask for references and actually call those people. You want to be sure they've got a good track record, that they work hard and that they're good at communicating. Having clear timelines is really important too. You don't want the project to drag on forever and eat into your profits.
It's like putting together a home renovation dream team. I think it's time for us to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive deeper into those renovations, and we'll talk about what happens when it's time to actually flip the house and hopefully make some money. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're really getting into the nuts and bolts of flipping houses. Before the break, we were talking about finding the right property and making sure the numbers work. Now I'm kind of curious to hear more about the renovation process. It seems like there's so much to think about.
Yeah. There really is. And, one of the things that really stuck with me from the video was that story about the investor who messed up the renovation costs. It's a good reminder that you got to plan everything out carefully, even before you even start thinking about paint colors and countertops.
Oh, for sure. It's so easy to get swept up in the excitement of the project. But those hidden costs can really get you. You can't see through walls, right? So what are some ways to avoid those big surprises that can blow your budget?
Well, that's where professional inspection comes in. Hiring a good inspector to really look the property over before you buy it is super important. They can spot those problems, like bad wiring, plumbing issues, potential problems with the foundation, things that you might not see yourself. Think of it as an investment. Spending a couple $100 on an inspection could save you thousands later on.
So that old saying, measure twice, cut once, that really applies to flipping houses too.
Yeah, more like inspect twice, budget 3 times.
Oh.
And speaking of budget, don't forget to include a contingency fund. Even with a really good inspection, there's always a chance you'll find something unexpected during the renovation. Having some extra money set aside can help you deal with those unexpected problems, and it can keep your project on track.
That's really smart. It's like having a safety net for your budget. Okay, now let's move on to the really fun part, the design and renovation phase. I love seeing those before and after pictures on those home renovation shows. It's like watching a caterpillar turn into a butterfly.
It really is rewarding to give a property a whole new life. But like we've been saying, it's not just about looks. You want to create a space that looks great, but it also needs to be functional and practical for the people who are going to live there.
Yeah.
Think like timeless elegance, not just trendy stuff that will go out of style. Remember, avocado-colored appliances. Nobody wants to see those come back.
Oh, I hope not. But seriously, how do you know what buyers are looking for? The video mentioned researching current renovation trends. Where's a good place to start with that?
Well, online resources are really helpful. You can check out design websites, home improvement magazines, even social media like Pinterest and Instagram. Those can give you a sense of what's popular in interior design right now.
What about going to open houses and model homes? Could that be helpful?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good way to see the trends in person and get a feel for the finishes and the styles that are popular in your area. Plus, you can get some ideas for staging.
Speaking of staging, I think that's something that a lot of people might not think about. Why is it so important to stage a house before you try to sell it?
Well, you're not just selling a house, you're selling a lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Staging is about showing off the best parts of the property and creating a warm and inviting atmosphere that buyers can see themselves living in. It's about decluttering, making it less personal, and creating a blank canvas so that buyers can imagine their own stuff in the space.
So no family photos or weird collections on display?
Probably not the best idea. You want buyers to feel like they could move right in, not like they're, intruding on somebody else's home.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like you're trying to create that model home feeling. Okay, so now you've got the place looking amazing. It's time to let people know about it. The video talked about using social media to market the property. How can someone use, Instagram and Facebook to attract buyers?
Well, good photos are key. Show off those amazing before and after pictures. That'll grab people's attention and show them, how much better you've made the place. You can even make short video tours to give people a virtual walkthrough. Remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is worth even more.
Yeah, that's totally me. I spend way too much time looking at those beautiful home decor accounts on Instagram. Okay, let's say you've got somebody interested. They come to see the property. They love it. Now it's time to talk about the price. Any tips for making sure that that part of the process goes smoothly?
Being prepared is really important. Before you even list the property, do your research. Know what your bottom line is, the absolute lowest price you'll accept. And be realistic about your pricing. Look at comparable properties that have sold recently to get a sense of what the market is like.
And I imagine you have to be willing to compromise a little bit, right? Nobody gets everything they want in a negotiation.
Right, exactly. Negotiation's like a dance. You got to give a little, to reach a deal that works for both sides. Remember to listen to the buyer's concerns and be willing to work with them, within reason. Being professional and polite the whole time can really help build a good relationship, and it can help build trust.
And having a good real estate agent on your side can be super helpful too, right?
Oh, absolutely. An experienced agent can give you advice about the local market. They can help you with all the legal stuff, and they can kind of act as a go-between for you and the buyer. Think of them as your real estate wingman.
I like that. Okay, so you've made it through the negotiation. The deal is done. The papers are signed. Congratulations. You've officially flipped your first house. Time to celebrate.
Yeah, hold on a second. Remember those taxes we talked about earlier? You got to pay the tax man.
Oh, right. Taxes. That's the part I'm definitely not looking forward to. Can you remind me how capital gains tax works? I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
Basically, it's a tax on the profit you make from selling something. In this case, a house. The rate you pay depends on how long you've owned the property. If you've had it for less than a year, it's considered a short-term capital gain. And the tax rate is usually higher. If you owned it for more than a year, it's a long-term capital gain, and the tax rate is usually lower.
So if you hold on to the property for at least a year, you could save some money on taxes.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. But, with taxes, there are always a lot of little details and exceptions. That's why it's always a good idea to talk to a tax professional. They can help you understand the tax laws and make sure you're taking advantage of all the deductions and credits you can.
Good advice. I'm starting to realize that flipping houses is like a giant puzzle.
Well,
all these different pieces that you have to put together just right.
You got it. It's not just about construction work and picking paint colors. It's a complicated process. You need a lot of different skills like financial analysis, knowing the real estate market, having a good eye for design, and being able to manage a whole team of people.
We've covered a lot today, from inspections and budgeting to design and negotiations. But the video we've been talking about kind of hinted that the world of flipping houses is always changing. So what are some of the trends that are shaping the future of this industry?
Well, sustainability is becoming really important in everything these days. And real estate is no different. Buyers are more concerned about the environment than ever before, and they're willing to pay more for homes that are energy efficient and good for the planet.
Oh, so things like solar panels and energy efficient appliances, those are more than just nice extras. They can actually make a house worth more.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about the resale value. It's about the value for the people living there. Lower utility bills, a healthier home. Those are big selling points. And when it comes to financing, we're seeing a lot of new options, like crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending. Those are making it easier for people who might not have had the money before to get involved in flipping houses.
So it's becoming more accessible to more people. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. It's like it's opening up real estate investing to a whole new group of people.
This is all really fascinating. I'm learning so much. It seems like the world of flipping houses is always changing.
It really is. And while it can be a great way to make money, it's important to be realistic. There are definitely risks involved. And to be successful, you got to plan carefully, do your research, and be willing to adapt as the market changes.
That's a good point to remember. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You got to put in the time and effort.
Well, it seems like we've only just scratched the surface of this whole flipping houses thing. What should somebody do if they if they want to learn more.
Well, the good news is there's a ton of information out there. Books, online resources, podcasts, you name it. You can even connect with other people who flip houses and learn from their experiences. The key is to never stop learning.
Great advice. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this part of our deep dive into flipping houses, but stick around. We'll be right back with more insights and expert opinions to help you navigate this exciting world.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking all about this world of flipping houses, and it's a lot more complicated than those TV shows make it seem.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, and it's not just about construction. It's a combination of a lot of different skills. You got to be good with money, understand the real estate market, have a good eye for design, and be able to manage a whole team of people.
Yeah, it's like playing Monopoly in real life, but with way higher stakes. What are some of the biggest things that can go wrong for someone who's new to flipping houses? I mean, we talked about underestimating costs and not checking out contractors carefully enough. What else should people watch out for?
Well, one thing that trips people up is getting too attached to a property.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to fall in love with the potential you see.
Yeah.
But you got to make decisions based on the numbers, not your feelings. Remember, this is a business, and the goal is to make a profit.
So no falling in love with that old clawfoot tub or those beautiful stained glass windows, even if they are tempting.
Right, exactly. Those things might be charming, but if they're not going to appeal to most buyers, they could actually end up costing you money. And speaking of the market, the video we're looking at, it really emphasizes understanding your local market. Why is that so important?
Mm-hmm. Well, they say real estate is all about location, 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 but I'm guessing it's more than just the neighborhood, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Think about it this way. Flipping a beach house in a trendy coastal town is totally different from renovating a big old Victorian house in a historic neighborhood. Each area has its own character, its own price range, and even its own types of buyers.
So you got to know what people are looking for in that specific area. Are they families, young professionals? Do they want something they can move right into, or are they looking for a project?
Exactly. And don't forget about all those other things that can really affect a property's value, like the schools, the crime rate, how close it is to parks and shops. All that stuff matters a lot to buyers.
That's a lot to keep track of. We talked a little bit about some of the new trends in flipping, like that focus on sustainability and those new financing options that are popping up. How are those things going to change the future of flipping houses?
Well, sustainability is a huge one. Buyers are becoming more and more eco-conscious, and they're willing to pay a premium for homes that are energy efficient and don't harm the environment.
So things like solar panels and energy efficient appliances, those are more than just like trendy add-ons. They can actually increase the value of a property.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And not just the resale value, but also the value for the people who live there. Lower utility bills, a healthier environment inside the house. Those are big selling points. And as far as financing goes, these new platforms like crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending, they're making it possible for people who might not have had the money before to get involved in flipping houses.
That's pretty amazing. It's like opening up the world of real estate to a whole new group of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I'm already starting to think about properties I could flip, but I also know it's not always easy. What are some of the risks that people need to be aware of before they jump into this world?
Well, you always have to consider how the market might change. Real estate goes up and down. You could finish a project just as the market starts to slow down, and that would make it harder to sell for the profit you were hoping for.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always the risk of those unexpected repairs we talked about. Even with a good inspection, you never know what you might find.
So you got to be ready for anything and be able to adjust as the market changes. It sounds like flipping houses is not for the faint of heart.
It's definitely not a passive investment. You got to be willing to put in the work, do your research, and constantly learn and adapt.
Well said. Any final words of advice for those who are feeling inspired to give flipping a try?
Just remember to plan carefully, do your research, and really enjoy the process of creating beautiful and functional spaces. And don't be afraid to use those resources we talked about. There's so much information out there to help you succeed.
That's great advice. And if you're listening to this and you've flipped a house, we want to hear from you. Share your stories, your successes, even your challenges. This is just the beginning of the conversation. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and until next time, happy flipping.